Hey everyone, welcome to Jams, the podcast where I invite a friend on to talk about an album of their choosing. This week, Brandon, also known as Gentle Ghost, stops by to talk about one of the greatest albums from the 90s, Blood Sugar Sex Magik, by the one, the only, Red Hot Chili Peppers. We discuss our mutual love for the Chili's, how Brandon's love for the band influenced his own songwriting process, and what separates this album from the rest of their discography. Also, this episode was recorded at the Bella Vista Hotel, so thank you for them for allowing us to use their podcast studio. Alright, this is going to be a fun one. Let's cut to myself and Brandon talking about Blood Sugar Sex Magik.
Okay, can we start now, I guess?
Yeah, we should start.
We should start now. Okay. This isn't our... No, we're not... You can't use a generic theme song when we have Brandon's amazing song as our intro anyway.
This is that Brandon?
This is that Brandon. This is
I'm Brandon.
Also known as Gentle Ghosts.
Gentle Ghosts in the building.
Let's go.
Boo.
Oh, he's so spooky.
He's come prepared.
What's
I'm
it?
scared. I peed my pants. Is there a bathroom?
Nah.
So we finally have you on the podcast because I've been using your song at this point for 6 episodes. So I appreciate you for letting me use your song in the first place.
I appreciate you putting it on.
Oh,
it's
of course.
It's just cool.
Oh, yeah, no, it's great.
I'm just happy to be here.
I was looking for a song for months and I was stressing about it for so long.
And then I came along.
And then you came, well, who are you?
My name is Brandon.
Also known as Gentle Ghost.
I mean, my imposter syndrome makes this hard to believe, but
Yep.
intellectually,
Yep.
I'm like, thank you.
So I have a co-host today. We have a third person here, which is the first time on Jams, because we have 3 microphones because we are recording this episode at the Bella Vista Hotel.
Oh, thank you to them.
So thank you.
Shout out to the Bella Vista Hotel.
Thank you so much. This is an amazing setup. And
They're all cheering out there for us.
there's a cheer button, I'm pretty certain. Thank you, staff at Bella Vista Hotel, for applauding us.
Are they laughing at us?
They're laughing at
Are
us.
they laughing
now.
with us or at us?
It's hard to tell.
It's hard to tell. And yeah, my co-host is Bailey or Ball or
Yeah.
what do you want to be called? Tell me.
Booba. Simply Booba.
I don't think I'll go by Booba. I'm going to save that for another stage in my life, I think.
Saving the best till last.
That's it.
Yeah.
Last leg of your journey
That's
of
what I was going
life.
to say on my tombstone. And no one will have ever called me that before.
Like we're trying to find your gravestone.
Yeah.
Booba.
I'm sure it's around here somewhere. Why does it say Booba?
Who's Booba?
So yeah, you're the co-host today. So you're going to be doing some epic button pressing,
Yep.
audio leveling,
Yep.
and some. Here we go.
Sad trombone.
Now, when will you use that button?
When necessary.
When necessary. So
Yeah.
when we bring up something sad.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
been.
we're gonna follow up this. The previous episode, I believe, was all
Yeah.
about cancer,
It was. It was.
and this
What
one
was the album?
Hospice.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, Hospice.
I was
by the
going to say,
Antlers.
like, did you start off with like Macklemore's, the thrift shop, and like somehow segue to cancer?
No, just somehow got our way
Man,
there.
that sounds like a heavy episode. How was that episode?
Last episode.
I mean, actually, the audience would know how that episode was unless they're not listening in chronological order, in which case, go back.
Yep, that's it.
Episode 1,
Episode 1.
then episode 2,
Mm-hmm.
3, 4, 5.
Yep.
And then continue.
And then you're here.
And then continue.
and then continue and
Do your
don't
homework.
stop.
Do your homework.
Do your homework before you listen to
So,
Jams.
audience, tell me, how was the last episode? How did you find? Was it heavy or not?
Was it?
and we'll wait for that response.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah. So we're done now. Okay, great. Thanks for coming on, everybody. We're going to wait for that response. You found a moment. You found a moment for it. Good job,
I
Paul.
don't think it was appropriate. I apologize.
So this is exciting because first off, there's 3 of us here, and this is a great time. Also, I am talking about the Red Hot Chili Peppers on my podcast.
Yeah, it's scary.
This is terrifying, but also so exciting because I've been wanting to talk about the Chili Peppers of every episode since I started.
Yeah.
I just want to talk about the whole discography. I feel like that could have just been the whole podcast.
Yeah.
I feel like that would get a bit boring.
Not to us, though.
Not to us.
Not
Not
to
to me
us.
and you at least. Yeah. Maybe to Ball after a while.
Yeah, we'll see.
You would get, yeah. And so, yeah, because the guest always uses the album, like I don't have any say over it.
Yeah.
So when I was talking to you like last week and you were like, Chili Peppers, Blood,
Yeah.
Sugar, Sex, Magik, I was, gobsmacked
It was
because
meant
I
to
was,
be.
yeah.
It's from the first moment.
Yep.
From the first moment we interacted on Instagram.
Yeah.
I was like, it needs to be this.
Yep.
But then after I was like, nah, like surely I can think of something else.
Yeah.
But like you said, all roads lead to Red Hot Chili Peppers. Like there was no choice. It was like the universe had decided, like I had to choose this album. I was just trying to fight the natural course of events.
Yep.
And when I just let go and let nature take its course, this is where we are. And that feels like a fitting way to kind of introduce the album, because that's what I feel like when I listen to the album. It just feels like a group of people who just let go completely.
Yep.
And just let loose and let their weirdness come out, let their idiosyncrasies and chaotic whatever it is just come out unfiltered in the most ridiculous way possible. That's how I feel listening to them, and just embracing, just letting things flow naturally.
Yeah. Do you think that like was especially prominent in this album, or do you think that was more a Chili Peppers thing in general?
I feel like it was. I mean, I think it's always been about their personalities. They've always kind of been people that just embraced who they are, and just like stood on that. You know, like I am this, and just really like stood firm in that. But I think this album especially, given that it was the first time that the producer of the album gave them the full kind of control to do whatever they want, because every album before that, like their first album, their producer had a very specific idea of the sound in mind, and they kind of went along with it. Second album, George Clinton, very specific idea. Third album, and then the fourth album, Mother's Milk as well, wanted them to become like some metal kind of punk band. But then Rick Rubin comes in, the maestro of meditation and just letting things flow, and he's like, what if they just did whatever, you know? And it was almost like the Chili Peppers were like the band that everyone knew had potential, but no producer knew how to like make the most of that potential. And they all came in with their own ideas of what that potential should be. And then he came in and he was like, nah, their potential is me just stepping back and them just being them. And that was the thing that kind of unlocked them. And I feel that so much when I listen to the album. I just feel this sense of just them just letting loose, and it just feels so unforced. It feels so natural, and it just feels so otherworldly as a result. And that's the main thing that's kind of sticking with me at the moment when I listen to it, because that's just kind of personally a place that I'd like to be in life, because I feel like, and I don't know if you guys relate, but I feel like my mind is my worst enemy in all things. Like the more I overthink things, the worse things get. Like thinking is terrible, you know? I mean, there's some cases where thinking is good, but there's a lot of cases where it's not good, you know? Like you just think yourself to death. But if you just trust yourself and you can just let go of that and just let the process happen, special things can happen. So that's kind of what I feel when I listen to the album right now, just that importance of just trusting yourself and just letting go.
Yeah, I think that was definitely, so prominent in this album because of they had so many albums where they were being more restricted. This is the first time they were able to just be themselves. And so they were just living in their house for the entire record as well, like where they produced it basically. And recorded the whole album just in this one house. And they were just with each other the whole time, except for Chad, who didn't stay in the house at all times. But besides the point, they were like, together all the time, and just with Rick Rubin, and just like they didn't have to do anything else besides make this album and be free. There was a person who would go and do their laundry, do their shopping for them, do all these random normal things. So the five of them, including Rick, would just exist in this house and just make music, and that was it. Like it would have been very freeing, I think, to not have any restrictions and just make the music exactly the way they wanted to, you know?
And it sounds like that. It sounds like listening to it. It sounds like there's this whole world that they're just living in with this album. And I don't know if you feel this way, but like people, like obviously the Red Hot Chili Peppers have become a bit of a meme of like, oh, they sound still down in California. But I feel like listening to this album, they've never made an album like that album before, and they've never made an album like it after. And I don't even mean like an album as good as, like what does good music even mean? But like just the feeling of that album, like I don't think they've ever touched that feeling. Maybe like little moments, but like before or since then. So I don't even know what it is about this album. Like it almost is beyond comprehension to me. I'm like, I don't know what's going on here, but it just feels so different from anything else they've ever done. And they as a band already sound so different from any other band in the world. Like what other band sounds like the Red Hot Chili Peppers? They're just so themselves. to the point where I don't even know. I'm just confused, and they're probably confused as well. They're like, what? You know what I mean? Like what even is it? You know, like how do you even conceptualize it? You know, it's not just like funky music. It's like,
more than that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of funk in there though.
There's a lot. There is a whole lot of funk in this album.
I was listening. I've never listened to the whole thing through before this week, and I was very surprised. Like every other song, like every second song, is just a big old funk town.
No, that's true. That's
And
true.
I was a little bit surprised, but I really liked it.
Yeah.
Like because I don't know, I had this because I know the Peppers, but I haven't listened to everything, and you just kind of have this kind of idea in your head about what they sound like,
Yeah.
and then you start listening to this, I'm like, they do sound like that, but then every other time is a big old funk fest, and I really liked it.
Oh wait, okay, so that's interesting. So in your mind, those times where it was a funk fest,
That sounded different to me.
that sounded different
That's,
to what
that's crazy.
like. What songs feel like the Red Hot Chili Peppers to you, and which of them, like, you know what I mean? Like, which are the ones that you're listening to? You're like, oh yeah, that's the band that I know. Do you remember?
Well, starting off with was it Power of Equality?
Mm.
Yeah, like that starts off, and I'm like, this is very Peppers, and then it just kind of jumps off from there, and then there's Funky Monks, which is just big funk.
Yeah,
Big funk. But as I was going through, I'm like, every other one, like it felt like it was breaking it up, like every second song, and I've only listened to it like 3 times now.
Yeah.
That was a good point. It is. I feel like it is. It does have a lot of the funkiest music that they've had. Maybe from that point onwards, like it definitely kind of reduced the amount of just like funky music, and the placement of those funky songs. Sometimes like the Funky Monks, it always makes me laugh whenever it starts.
Yeah,
because the song before is I Could Have Lied, and it's like the most like gut wrenching song in the album. And he's like, I could have lied, I'm such a fool. Yeah, and the guitar's like, it's like so like I'm picturing them like on the floor like crying, like making this song. Yeah, and it's like. Bam, bam,
yeah.
Or I don't know if it's that one or if it's Mellowship that follows it. Either way,
it's
and it's same after Breaking the Girl. Breaking the Girl, and then into Funky Monks, right?
It's Breaking the Girl, Funky Monks.
And Breaking the Girl's like twisted and dirty, breaking the girl, and then it's like. It's just like the placement is so like it's just so complete opposite. It's like they went there a little bit and they're like no.
Going too much.
Let's get funky. And I feel like that's Bailey's role on this podcast.
Yeah.
Like when I'm going too deep into like the spiritual meaning of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, I feel like it's Bailey's role to pull me out, because if I go too deep, I don't think I will ever come back.
This will be the longest podcast in history.
You need to sample like Funky Monks. So like when I'm too deep, you just press the boom. And I'm like, okay, we just go on vibe.
Man, we're just funking here.
We're just funking it up.
Cheeky funk break, you know? Hell yeah.
Oh, Bailey, did you like the funky stuff more or the typical
I think
Chili Pepper stuff?
I enjoyed the typical stuff more, and like that was more of the stuff I'd heard before.
Yeah,
like there were a lot of them that I'm like, oh yeah, I've heard this, but like I'd never listened to it in the album before. I don't often go through like album start to finish.
Yeah,
so that's more of my knowledge of Peppers, is just like hearing it in passing. So, but I liked the funk. I'm a big fan of funky times. Like it's just fun.
Funkalicious.
We should make him a playlist of all the funkiest moments of Chili Peppers. All the discography of just all their funkiest songs. That'd be great.
How do you feel about the funky moments on Blood Sugar Sex Magic?
I really enjoy him. That's why I love Chili Peppers to start with. I think those funky like free moments of Flea and just Chad, especially like that rhythm section. Yeah, just going at it. It is just the connection that they have, especially again with John as well. Yeah, like they're just so tight, and they all just like it's like there's one brain working. Yeah, when they're just doing the instrumentals, like it's like they're all just on the same frequency, and they just know exactly what they're gonna do next. And it's amazing. It's especially on this record as well. You can hear the connection so clearly,
and it's amazing listening to like hearing about when that first started. Like I was listening to a podcast where they were talking to Rick Rubin about how they first met Chad, like the first session.
Yeah.
Have you heard that?
Yeah.
That story.
Yeah.
Just like like I think it was this whole thing where like they were kind of put off by this guy who like came from like, I don't know, Detroit or something.
Yeah,
with
Detroit,
like
yeah.
he had this full kind of like rock metal do up and everything.
Long hair. Bandana.
Everything where the Chili Peppers were so like, oh no, we're different, you know, we're punk, we're like we're from Hollywood. But then like that first session, the moment they started playing, like I think Anthony Kiedis said like after that session or during the session, like he just couldn't stop like uncontrollably laughing. He was just running around the room hysterical. Like there was just something in that room the moment that those people came together that was just so undeniable and just beyond just beyond any thought. Like it's not like they sat down like, okay, I'm gonna lay down like some funky beats and then you're gonna be like boom 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 boom.
Yeah.
Like you said, it just happened. They just it was just like I don't want to keep bringing everything back to sex. It is blood sugar sex magic, but it is almost like sex in a way. It's like it's two people coming together that it's just a chemistry that's either there or it's not there. And in the case of them, it's there. And I don't know, maybe they were having some hot sex during making that. Maybe that's the secret of blood sugar sex magic. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that's where the chemistry comes from.
That's why it's so funky.
Yeah.
How good is Red Hot Chili Peppers? You know what's also good? Brandon's lovely music, of course. As Gentle Ghost, he has released 2 amazing songs so far, those being Puzzled, the epic theme of jams, and About You. These songs are streaming now, so what are you doing? You best go to his Linktree at linktr.ee/gentleghosts and check out his songs. And if you're feeling extra generous, give him both a cheeky review on Triple J Unearthed. Also, if you're enjoying jams, feel free to give it a rating on whatever platform you use. Any feedback is greatly appreciated. Alright, back to the episode.
Yeah, and I think on this album as well, I think this is the one where Flea, because even on Mother's Milk, you could see, because that was the first album with the 4 of them, with John Frusciante and Chad. But on this album, you can see that Flea has toned it back a bit. Like there is a lot of the funky songs, but on the slower songs, you can see that he's leaving gaps between his notes. And like when you look at his the early discography on the last 4 albums, it was hard punk bass lines, like just slamming it like completely.
Yeah.
So it's good that he's sort of learned in this album to like not tone it down completely, clearly, but like to a point where you get songs like Breaking the Girl, where like that wouldn't have happened on any earlier album because of the dynamic that at least Flea and the band might have had, where it's like, we got to go. Like this is like, we got to fucking gun it, basically. And as that's maybe where Chad came in or anything like that, where it's like they've toned it down a little bit, where they found this album especially had a very good medium between the two. Yeah. And it's like, as Bailey was saying, when he listened to it, like he could know the difference between like the 50-50 and the 50 split between like a generic sort of slower, maybe Chili Peppers type of vibe to these uptown like funk sort of like beats. Yeah. And it's like, I think that's one of the reasons why this album is so good, because there is that nice medium. I feel. Like it's a very happy like middle ground.
Yeah, I feel you. It's so interesting. Yeah, talking about Flea toning it down. I just want to know why that is. Like I've like some things I've heard recently. Yeah. Like I think one thing was hearing Rick Rubin actually seeing in that Funky Monks documentary, them recording Under the Bridge, and Flea's just like boom boom down 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 down, and Rick Rubin's like, hey Flea, what if you just went like boom boom. Yeah. But then there was also this other thing that it kind of throws a spanner in the works with my working theory that the album is kind of like the embodiment of people just letting loose. It was like this little snippet of an interview with Flea after the album was released, and he was saying that like the reason he didn't do slap bass on the album except for like 1 or maybe 2 songs was because Kim Gordon, the singer or something of Sonic Youth, this other 90s band, kind of made this comment that like white men had taken like funk music and turned it into this like bro jock kind of like aggressive thing. Oh wow, yeah. And in the interview he was like, oh yeah, I didn't do the slap bass on this album because I didn't want to like perpetuate that anymore, and I love Kim Gordon. And I just found that really interesting because it just reeked of like maybe not self-doubt, but just like a sort of self-awareness or self-censoring that kind of goes against the whole working theory that I had that the album was just like pure expression, you know? Like maybe there were elements of them actually being like, hey, I want to do this thing, but I'm not going to because I don't want to give off this vibe, or I don't want to do this or don't want to do that. So maybe it's not this pure kind of free thing. Maybe there is also an element of doubt within that, and maybe that's just all music in general. You know, maybe there's always going to be some level of doubt or some level of self-awareness or some level of overthinking,
like a restraint.
Yeah. And maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. Like maybe the best music comes from a balance between just the unfiltered energy and some level of like thinking and awareness. I don't know. But that just kind of, when I read that, I was like, whoa, that's so hard to picture that Flea, the bassist of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, would not slap bass because someone said that it was too, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Someone made some comment in an interview that he would then change his whole playing style for an album, which is like what probably their most like famous album of all time. It's just crazy to imagine.
Especially if Flea at that age now, like you'd probably hear something like now in like 2022, like after we had I'm With You and The Getaway, where it's a lot more like there's not barely any slap bass in those albums. But back in here, this was like what 91, this album? Like Flea back then, like, just came off. He's massive. He was known as that guy who's like revolutionized slap bass with his techniques.
Yeah.
Like he was like the pioneer in that regard, like the way he played it.
Yeah.
So for him to like go in, like knowing that reputation and still being like, well, no, I'm going to go and do something else.
Yeah.
When he was this young still is surprising. Like I didn't know that at all. I didn't know that. Yeah. That's one of the reasons why he didn't slap bass as much on the album.
Yeah. I wonder how much, like maybe part of it was just his own thinking as well, but it's interesting just because the only things I've heard is from outside influences, either like Rick Rubin being like minimize your playing, or him hearing this other thing. Like, it's just interesting because it goes against the idea that he was just kind of letting himself be as he was.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. But I think that's one thing I've learned about to kind of segue. One thing I've learned in my many years of fandom with the Red Hot Chili Peppers is not to put people on a pedestal too much, because I grew up, they were all my heroes growing up. John Frusciante was the reason I learned to play guitar. Flea was the reason I bought my first bass. I'd play all the Red Hot Chili Peppers songs constantly. Like even Anthony Kiedis's way of singing has influenced me. And when you're that deep in the kind of Red Hot Chili Peppers obsession, like I used to spend every day on the Red Hot Chili Peppers forum, like I would be at school in class, like on the forum, like talking to people, like looking at the latest set lists that they played. I'd go home, do the same thing, like every day, racked up like thousands and thousands of posts. But when you're so deep into that, you kind of build up this picture that all these people are like mythological figures. And then you kind of get older and you find things that kind of maybe contradict those things. And then you try to reconcile it. And that was kind of something that I've kind of been having to deal with the past maybe year or so, just kind of having maybe a more increased awareness of some of the stuff that particularly Anthony Kiedis was doing when he was younger. And then how does that then reflect on the band and their like decision to maybe not address those things or not confront those things, like potentially to this day. And it's a tricky one because at the end of the day, you can't know where someone's at. You know, you can't make assumptions of like where someone is with their own journey of accountability and responsibility. And people do things in private as well. But there's definitely been an element of like, okay, I need to not put people on a pedestal because everyone I put on a pedestal lets me down to some degree because we're all human. You know, like Kanye West is another example. Yeah, I love Kanye's music, but there's been so many things have happened that have made that have made me go, okay, like you're not this perfect godlike person. I definitely shouldn't idolize you or anyone because we all have problems, you know. We all go through difficulties. That's one big thing that I've kind of been going through with the Red Hot Chili Peppers is just trying to let go of that idea of idolizing people that you look up to and just being able to accept them as they are, as the flawed people that they are or were or could be, and kind of apply that to everyone. It's been interesting.
Yeah, especially like that would be so easy to fall into when you like the connection that I could say comfortably to say like we both have with Chili Peppers. That like, we love this band. This band means a lot to both of us. Like this has been, especially like I have never had a connection with the band like this, and I probably never will.
Yeah.
Like I listened to I'm With You the first time, and then that was it.
Yeah.
Like I was off.
Yeah.
And so when you love a band like this and you listen to them all the time and you feel like you know them,
Yeah.
it's so hard not to put them up on that pedestal.
Yeah.
Because why wouldn't you put them on that pedestal, even subconsciously? That you're making this music that you love and you have this connection to.
Yeah.
How can they be a bad person? How can they have any flaws if they can make this beautiful piece of work?
Yeah.
I gotta stop putting these people in this high pedestal because they're never going to stay there.
Yeah.
Putting them on a pedestal is unfair for yourself and them because no one, as you were saying, no one's perfect. Everyone has these flaws. And the sooner you accept that, it's like, they made this a beautiful albums that I love so much, but they're still not perfect people. They have views we don't agree with or actions that we don't agree with. Yeah. But still accepting that and saying, well, that's still okay. I still love this band, even though that they are flawed. Yeah. I think that's a big journey, especially when there's like a connection, like what we have with Chili Peppers. Yeah. It takes a long time and it's not natural. Yeah. And especially even like little things like John Frusciante. I love John Frusciante. I think his fucking music is amazing. I think he's one of the greatest guitarists of all time. I can't confidently say that. But personally, I don't know if he'd be the greatest person in the world to talk to. Like just little things that make me angry at least is that I love Josh's era with Chili Peppers. I think that is very, very strong 2 albums or 3 albums if I'm Beside You, if we're adding that. And so John's come back and he's acting as if that never happened. He acts like his songs with Dave Navarro never happened, where it's like all this beautiful music and he just doesn't want to bring it up. He doesn't want to, he just acts as if Chili Peppers only exists when John Frusciante is in the Chili Peppers, which for a lot of the fan base or like a lot of people, that's fair. That's a fair assessment, but that's not the case. Yeah. There's a lot of fans like ourselves so that still listened on throughout those years when he wasn't there and still found all these amazing moments. Yeah. So for him to come back and just sort of, if I'm never going to hear Dark Necessities live again, like that's terrible. That's a terrible thought because I love those and I love those albums so much. Yeah. Where it's like, if he's just going to ignore it because he didn't like that the Chili Peppers continued without him. Yeah. It's like, I don't know. I'll be the other bandmates that they still put all this time and effort into, the fans that want to hear these songs where he's just clearly like, oh, well, I'm not going to do it. So I'm not going to do it type of thing. So like that's
especially when he grew up as a fan of the band. Like he was, and he came in like as their guitarist, like on their 4th album. It's not even like it was his. Like at the end of the day, it's Flea and Anthony's baby. Like they are the nucleus of the band. Yeah, and it's tricky because like as you say, like these songs mean so much to people, and it's not even like they're not in the business of pleasing people. Like you look at their set lists. They play their hits every set list. They always open with like either Can't Stop or Around the World. They always end with Give It Away. Like they're not just rocking up on the day and they're like, I'm just going to play whatever I feel like. Like they care about pleasing the audience. And the same applies to the music that existed when he wasn't in the band. But yeah, it is interesting with John because it's almost from my viewpoint, and again, this is where it gets a bit armchair psychologist. Like I can't really know how someone is feeling, and I think as fans sometimes maybe we go too far into this, but I'm just going to do it anyway. I kind of view his take on it almost like someone who has gone back with an ex or something like that. It's like that, like the intensity of the connection that he has with music when he plays it is so strong that it's almost like he can't separate the music. Like he can't just play the songs, like if he's playing them, like he's giving like every bit of his being to those songs. So if he has negative feelings for whatever reason, and maybe it's his responsibility to work through those things, like he can't really play them in the same way. And like I think like proof of that on the latest tour is like they haven't played Under the Bridge for the past 11 shows or something. They played it like on like the 3rd show I think of this current tour, and he was just like bawling his eyes out essentially. And since then it's been on the set list for every night, but they haven't played it, and there hasn't been any statement about it, but part of me feels like maybe something in that struck a chord personally, and because of that he doesn't like feel comfortable playing it. And to me that kind of speaks of like the intensity of the connection that he has to the music, for better and for worse. But then it does go back to, at the end of the day, like you're part of this band that means so much to so many people. Is it on you to put that aside in order to kind of serve the people who your music matters to the most? Is an interesting question.
Yeah.
I personally feel like because we're going to see them together.
Yep.
I would just want them to just play whatever they wanted to play. And even if that's not songs that I like, I think just because to me, I just want to see them at their most natural and just see them enjoying themselves the most. But I can also fully understand that, like, at the end of the day, they're putting on a show. They're charging. We're not just going to their house and sitting in their basement. Like, they're charging big money.
Yeah.
For people to see them. Like, there is some sort of sense of like, okay, like you've got to be respectful of the people that you're playing to, because at the end of the day, you're providing a service to them. So yeah, it's tricky.
Yeah,
California.
When are we doing these peps?
Or even are you going to mention that we took a break, or are you just going to roll with it somehow?
I'll roll with it somehow, I think. Yeah, I'll probably.
Wait, I'll do it.
You'll do it.
Okay. Time for bathroom.
I love bathroom.
This episode of Jams was sponsored by Bathroom.
No, it wasn't.
Bella Vista Hotel's bathroom.
Bella Vista Hotel's bathroom.
Top-notch bathroom.
Very good bathrooms. They have both the air dryer and they have the paper.
They got paper?
They
You
got the
can
option.
choose, yeah.
I love the option. There's so many places that don't have the options.
Urinals?
And they have 3 women's bathrooms.
Good.
What?
I don't know why, but they have 3 doors.
Which
that
one
say
did you
women's
go to?
I went to the men's one. There was
Okay.
one men's bathroom,
All right.
but
Only
I-
one? Oh, I don't like that.
But there's 3 women's bathrooms.
The
So
other
if you-
3 are
if you're
just
after
doors.
choices,
Other 3 are just doors. They don't lead to anything.
There's not even a room behind it. It's just like an opened. There's like nothing. There's like nothing at all.
Bella Vista Hotel has no bathroom.
No pee-pee
This
time.
episode was sponsored by No Bathrooms.
Woo. Okay. Well, I think we should do this at the end of the podcast because we have to talk afterwards, and I feel like talking
True.
big chili in our mouth. I think wouldn't be good.
All right, so back to the album.
Back to the album, Bailey. Thank you very much. What a good co-host you are. You're being a good boy. Thank you.
Well, you know, I get paid top dollar for this.
How much am I paying you?
a chili pepper.
1 chili pepper.
1 chili pepper.
Well,
Red
soda
hot
water.
chili pepper.
We should acknowledge it that, Brandon, you've given us a gift. You've come
from the
bearing
bottom of
gifts.
my heart. From the bottom of my heart,
Yes.
I brought 3 cute little red hot chili peppers for us all to munch on.
Yep.
When the time comes,
And
just to add to the experience, just for us to become one with the music, like they became with the music.
Exactly.
It's only fitting.
Yeah, exactly. So you've already done a little photo shoot of both of us. So we'll do that at the end. If you stick around for the whole episode, we'll eat a chili pepper at the end on this audio.
That's the best time to mention. Stick around to the end, halfway through the episode. That's when you need the hook.
That's when you need it.
No, it's a given that they're going to listen to the first half.
Well, Yeah.
98% of people listen to the first half of these episodes.
98% of the people, they hop off at the first bathroom time.
Well, that's why they got to stick around, and we'll make it audio. I'll turn it into like a mukbang as, like, you'll hear me like.
Yeah, that'll be good. That's
You'll
what we
hear
want.
my uncomfortable chewing noises.
Oh, that'll be
because you
loud
can't see me.
breathing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get the full experience.
And
I'll make sure I cry on the microphone, but I probably shouldn't because
every
these nice microphones.
At the Bella Vista Hotel.
Yeah. Thank you.
Every guest I've had has cried so far.
Yeah.
So they keep punching him.
It's when they find out they don't get paid.
Yeah.
This is gonna do it.
Yeah, that's it. And then we can finally all cry together. As the boys, we should. We should normalize crying.
We should.
Yeah, we should.
Genuinely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should normalize it. But that's besides the point.
I was nearly there talking about the
Bathrooms.
talking about the bathrooms. Yeah, on that deep dive that we were going on, I was like, "Damn, we're going deep into this."
When you were mentioning the 3 doors, the 3 women's
Yeah.
bathrooms, you're like, oh, man.
Was that when I was meant to pull you back?
But yes, as we only have like another, hopefully an hour. It's at till 1, and it is now 1:15. So we should be fine.
Yeah,
1:15.
I think so.
We're good.
An hour.
We got an hour. It's fine.
12:15. We have till 1. An hour.
Shut
If you
up.
round up to the nearest hour.
You're not meant to make me look bad. You're my co-host. You're meant to make me look good, Ball.
Oh, sorry.
You want to try again? Make me look good real quick.
Yeah, that's an hour.
Yeah.
Woo.
I know time, baby.
Yeah.
I know numbers. I know time. Anyway, back to the album. What I was
Let
gonna
me do it.
Okay, you do it.
Now back to the album.
Before we went for the bathroom break, I was going to bring it back to the Blood Sugar Sex Magic, where this is the first time that John Frusciante left the Chili Peppers. And he's left it, 2 times now?
Yeah.
I believe. So after this album and then also in 2008 after Stadium Arcadium.
Yeah.
And I think that came about because, there's a couple of reasons, I guess, because they were recording the studio for this album was just in this old house. This old house in Hollywood, I think it was. And they were just in there the whole time. I think it was 3-month recording process.
Yeah.
And John just lived in that house. He did not leave the house at all.
Yeah.
And then would have to go on this massive tour, which was very jarring, I would think, for him to be in this reclusive sort of area for so long and just being in this band. Like I was saying before, they didn't have to do anything. They didn't have to wash their clothes, didn't have to make their bed, didn't have to do anything. People would do that for him.
Yeah.
So going back into the real world, and then not only going back into the real world like any normal person, in the Red Hot Chili Peppers on this brand new album that you're now touring. I think it was stadiums at this point. They were getting bigger, at least. Prior to Mother's Milk, when he first joined, when there was still they weren't a club band, but they were still not the biggest, not half as big as they are now. And I think John sort of said that was one of the reasons why he left, because that fame, basically, to doing these big shows, he loved the intimacy of these smaller venues. He could see the crowd and he could see how they were responding. Yeah. Now that there's a big disconnect because they're on this big stage and everyone else is down below.
Yeah.
I think John disconnected himself from that, and that was one of the reasons why he left after the tour. I think mid-tour, actually, someone else had to cover him. Yeah. During the this tour after the release. Yeah. But he left and wouldn't rejoin until 98, I think, because Californication came out in 99. So I think that was the first album with him back. Yeah. Since leaving, but I don't know. A lot of people would would love to have the stadium tours and have this this amazing album out and having all these fans wanting to see you. Yeah. But it's strange to feel like that's clearly not for everyone. It's clearly it's a lot of jarring. There's a lot of negatives that we wouldn't really understand. Yeah. And to the point where he would just leave the band completely. Yeah. And I'm just surprised that he would leave one of the biggest bands, or becoming one of the biggest bands, because he would rather them stay at a smaller level. Yeah. It just shows just the where his priorities were at with music. Yeah. In my opinion, just that at the end of the day, it was all about the feeling. It was all about how everything made him feel, not what he could earn or this, that, and the other. Mm. And I feel like the same applies with him leaving the band. He left the band in 2008. They had everything. They didn't even need to work all the time. They could have just gone on a tour. He could have just gotten all the big bucks, and then he could have gone off and do whatever he wanted. But he seems so all or nothing when it comes to music, where he was no, this way of operating, I don't want to do it. I want to just go live by myself and just make electronic music for 10 years. Mm. And that's kind of what he did. And I don't no matter how many interviews I've listened to of him, I don't understand. I don't understand why. I don't understand how he works, but he's just one of those people that I know something's going on, and maybe I won't even ever be able to understand it, but he's just being true to himself, and he has been from the start. And I guess I just have to respect that. And there's just certain people that I meet that give me that feeling. I met someone last night who I won't name. Yep. In case it's not a diss or anything. I think it's really cool. Yep. I met someone last night, a director, and they're kind of they're just someone who, when you meet them, you just get the sense that they're not living based off what society thinks they should do, or how the world is meant to operate, or anything like that. They're just they have this world inside them, and they're just operating based off that in this extremely unfiltered way. Mm. And sometimes that can be a bit jarring. Sometimes it leads to moments in social interactions that are a bit unexpected or uncomfortable. But then at the same time, I kind of have to respect it, because I think one thing that the Red Hot Chili Peppers are to so many people is a glimpse of that escape, because I feel like they are such a popular band at the end of the day. We're going to go to the show. Yeah. I feel like majority of people who are going to go see them, that in their daily lives, they don't really do anything that's out of societal norms. They don't really they're not burning down buildings and doing whatever crazy things. They're just living a life that is socially acceptable by our society at this time, and going to that show and seeing Flea on stage dressed with stuffed animals stitched onto his pants, being yeah. And Anthony Kiedis just being this da gumpa doompa California. I think it just gives people that
just like that momentary escape of like, what if we just let go of all of these things? What if we just let go of all of these societal norms, all of these long-term ambitions, all of these like greater sources of meaning? And what if we just like rocked out? What if we just embraced the moment? What if we just followed our feeling? And I feel like people get something out of that, even if their whole life isn't like that. Just that little kind of moment where they can dip into that world can sometimes be enough just to like keep them going when they're just tired of like wearing a suit every day. Like, and why are we like doing all these things? Why are we walking on this side of the road? Why are we printing money? What even is money? It's all just paper. You know what I mean? Like there's all these things and it just gets too much to a point, and sometimes you want to just let go and just exist and just vibe and just let loose. And I feel like that's the power of their music a lot of the time to me. And I feel like that's the power of this album as well. Like just letting loose, just getting funky with it.
Being completely free. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember Flea saying like in an interview that he would like when he's playing bass, that's all that matters in the world, in the galaxy. Like it was like him and like this unknown being. Like he's talked more like he's more the middle ground. Like he's more the amplifier for this being that, you know, that no one else can see.
Yeah.
And then so he doesn't even think about it. Like he's not even conscious of when he's playing the bass half the time. Like he's just so natural. It's so ingrained in him. He's just so free to the point where he doesn't realize anything else is going on. He's taking, you know, if that being is real or not, whatever, but he still believes that there is that something else there sort of guiding him. And he just lets that take complete control.
Yeah.
And I feel like the rest of the band would still feel like that. They don't go to social norms and stuff like that. They don't really give a shit about that type of stuff, especially back then in 91.
Yeah.
They were just, so free. They couldn't give two shits about what the fuck was going on in the world. They were just by themselves in this little house, or this mansion, and just rocking out.
Yeah.
And they were just being so free. And I feel like that still is the way now. I still believe that Chili Peppers still feel like that.
Yeah.
Like you said, like back in 2008, they were already so famous. They had Stadium Arcadium out. They didn't have to make any more music.
Yeah.
And when John left, like John assumed that was going to be it because, well, we've already done everything. Why would it need to keep going?
Yeah.
But then, you know, look at it, 2022 now. They've just released a fucking killer album.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're going to slow down anytime soon.
Yeah.
And so you could see that is just their love for that feeling of just being free.
Yeah.
That love of just creating music where you're not concerned in anything else in life right now. You're concerned in that music.
Yeah.
And I feel like Chili Peppers have consistently had that in their music.
Yeah.
Because I think it's just it's ingrained in all of them, in all four of them.
Yeah.
And even whatever guitarist they have at the time, if it's John, if it's Josh, there's still, I think that's one of the biggest things about Chili Peppers that at least I love them so much for.
Yeah.
Is that they are free. Like they make the music they want to make.
Yeah.
People hated the I'm With You. People hated Getaway.
Yeah.
Half the people still don't like Unlimited Love.
Yeah.
But they don't give a shit. They're making the music that they want to make.
Yeah.
Like John hasn't come back. He was the first album back in 10 years.
Yeah.
And he could have been killing the guitar solos every song. He could have been the lead. But you hear in Unlimited Love, like he's not the lead in most songs.
Yeah.
Like he's usually Flea pushing the jams and stuff like that. So just little things like that where you can see that they are just doing what they feel is right at the time. And it's just so freeing to listen to, you know?
And Rick Rubin definitely helped that process along.
Yeah,
like he just
definitely.
just encouraging that, and just hearing Rick Rubin talk about the Red Hot Chili Peppers, it just validates my love for them. And I don't know if you've heard him talk about them as well, but like when he was talking about that first jam that he sat in on with John back in the band, and he was just saying he just cried. Like he just couldn't help it but cry.
Yeah.
And it's just such an interesting image, right? Because I've been thinking about the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and I don't want to pose this question. I mean, obviously, I've been thinking about the Red Hot Chili Peppers because we're on a podcast where we talk about bathrooms, occasionally the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah, that's it. Yep.
But I was thinking, like, what is it about their music? What is it about the feeling that made it that, like, when I heard that album when I was like, I don't know, 12, 13, whatever, how many years old, something changed irreversibly. Like my life irreversibly changed. What is it about this album? What is it about their music? People may think that Red Hot Chili Peppers is not the kind of music that would make a grown man cry, you know? Like that would make like Rick Rubin start bawling just because they're doing like funky jams, right? Yeah. Because you think, okay, funky jams, it's just like chill vibes, you know? But there's just something more to that, and I just want to maybe like put that out to you, especially in reference to the album that we're talking about. Like, how would you And it's hard, like feelings are hard to describe, but how would you describe the feelings of Blood Sugar in particular when you listen to it, or does it depend on where you're at?
Yeah, no, good question. There's I think the thing that's drawn me to Chili Peppers and sort of kept me there is Anthony Kiedis's lyrics. They are so abstract for the majority of the time that for the most people, anyone just listening to it on the radio, they're like, he's not talking about anything. It's gibberish. Yeah. But because like there is lyrics, when he's writing it, he is writing about stuff. He's not just putting words on the page for the sake of it. Like he is telling a story. Yeah. And I feel like the interpretation of that story changes so much to anyone listening. We can all listen to the same song and have 3 different opinions on it. Yeah. Even if it's exactly the same song. Yeah. And I don't think that would happen with a lot of other bands. Yeah. And then so, yeah, especially in this album, how sexualized a lot of the words were, like a lot of the lyrics, like that's more consistent, I feel like, in this album than all the other ones. Yeah. But it's still, there is a beauty to, especially the lyrics, that sort of just kept me coming back. Like there are just so many songs that it matters how I'm feeling at the moment, and then they sort of correlate to that. So yeah, if I'm feeling happy or I'm being sad about a certain thing, a lot of Chili Peppers songs can talk about that to me. And there's no other band that does that. There's no other band that I can just put them on and it's sort of like, it's like a chameleon almost, where it's like it alters, the sort of music alters itself to how I'm feeling at the time. Because it is so free, I can sort of like, that's why I've sort of stayed there, because I can sort of tap into that. And I always have something there that can relate to however I'm feeling at the time.
Like specific songs, or do you feel like everything on a whole? Like if you, so if you were to, like if you were feeling, say like, if you're feeling more down and you put the album on, is every album kind of going to, is every song going to feel different to you in that moment? Or is it more so that you know that there's specific songs that you would want to listen to?
Yeah, I think it's specific songs. Like I always say, if I'm feeling a certain way, I would put a certain Chili Peppers song on. And this album, it isn't my favorite Chili Peppers album. I think a lot of people, like talking to a lot of Chili Peppers fans, this is in their like top 3. Yeah. And I would say this is my top 5, but it isn't my number 1. Like this isn't peak Chili Peppers in my opinion, because coming in from I'm With You, that's what my starting point was. Yeah. This is just very different from that. Yeah. And I still love this album. I still, it's a Chili Peppers album. It's still one of my greatest albums of all time. Yeah. But comparing it to all the other songs and all the other albums, I don't listen to it as much. But there's still, a lot of songs in this album that I just, completely love. I think like Blood Sugar Sex Magic, the actual song. Yeah. I love that so much. The jam and like, I listen to that probably the most. Yeah. It's just the easiest listen. Yeah. And I feel like it doesn't sort of matter how I'm feeling at the time. I can put that on and feel good. Yeah. Yeah. And I feel, but I can do that. I can just put Chili Peppers on shuffle and then have that sort of similar thing.
That song is just like that song feels like something is just being like injected into your veins. Like you just like took some drug and it just like went straight to your veins. It's just like something about it's just like so intense, the feeling in that song. And I feel that on other songs as well from the album, but especially that song, the chorus of that song is just so, it just feels like, to me when I listen to it, it feels like standing on like the top of a mountain and there's like just the craziest wind ever and you're just like holding onto the bars when the chorus hits. Yeah. It's just something, and I don't even know what it is. Again, like I don't know what it is. And then, but there's kind of like there's a sadness to it as well. Maybe sadness isn't even the right word. There's some like melancholy to all of the songs on that album. And I feel like that's one thing that really sets it apart from a lot of their other albums, is like even the funkiest songs have some underlying different feeling that makes it more than just that, you know? And I think that's one thing I feel about, don't get me wrong, I love the new album, but one thing I feel listening to the new album is it almost feels two-dimensional. It feels like this is the funky song, it gets funky. This is this song, it gets like this. Right. This is the more mellow song, it's more mellow. Whereas like you listen to like, I don't know, you listen to Breaking the Girl, right? How do you even conceptualize what feeling that is meant to have? Like it's kind of rocking, it's kind of uplifting, it's mysterious, it's ghostly, it's sad, I don't know, it's so many feelings that I can't even fully articulate. And same with Blood Sugar Sex Magic, like it's rocking, but it's got something else as well. There's these different feelings in it. And I don't know, like I've never really been one for to, I guess, believe in paranormal things, which is interesting given the my artist name, Gentle Ghosts.
Yep.
There is something sort of intangible about this album in particular that I keep coming back to it. I can't even comprehend it. And I like, no matter how many times I listen to it, I'm trying so hard. I'm trying to listen to the guitars, the bass, the vocals. I'm trying to understand like what is going on in this song that's making me feel this way.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I just don't know. Like, which sucks because this is a podcast. We're meant to talk about it. But my biggest, going back to listening to this album in the last week, the more I listen to it, the less I know about it.
Right.
The less I understand about it. The less I like.
Yeah.
It truly, like, all that stuff that Rick Rubin and everything would say about like just the spirits of music and the kind of ghostly presence in that house and everything, it's just making more and more sense to me because I just don't get it. Like, what is this album? It's just, I just can't even comprehend it. I don't know. Which is weird, right? Because it's the Red Hot Chili Peppers. You'd think it would be so straightforward, but it's not to me. Like I don't know what. Can we swear on this podcast?
Yeah, man. Yeah,
I don't know what the fuck is going on with this album, and the more I say it, I'm just like, what even is this?
Yeah.
I'm losing my mind right now talking about it.
And that is crazy that, you don't even know why you love it so much, but you love it so much and you know that, you know?
I've tried to figure it out. I've been I've been listening to this album the past like however long. I've been listening to it since I was like 12 years old, but like in the lead up to this podcast, I've been sitting there like, okay, what's going on? And the more I listen to it, I'm just like, I don't know. It's almost the worst choice for a podcast for me because it's probably the hardest album for me to talk about. Yeah. But it's the easiest album for me to confidently say is like one of my favorite albums of all time. Yeah. But I don't know why. I don't know why. And maybe I almost hope that I never know why because there's almost something, as someone who makes music, and I think everyone can feel this in different areas of life, like whether it's food, like food is like this amazing thing and then you learn how to make it and it's almost like the magic is gone in a way, you know, that sort of like that wonder of like, how did they do that? How did they pull that off? The more you kind of learn about music, the more you break it down, the harder it is. Like the less often you get that feeling of just wonder, of just like, how did this even happen? And I still feel that with this album. Yep. So I almost hope that I'd never figure that out, you know? Yeah. And I don't know if they could figure it out because if they could figure it out, they would do it again. And the crazy thing is, you listen to Unlimited Love, right? Their latest album. Yeah. There's so many songs that draw influence from even Josh era stuff. It draws influence from Stadium Arcadium, draws influence from By the Way, a lot of like By the Way inspired stuff, a lot of stuff from their earlier records, some stuff from like Freaky Styley. I can even see some influence, some 90s sort of grunge influence. I don't think there's like the feeling in Blood Sugar Sex Magic. I can't find that anywhere in the new album. For me personally, I can't find that feeling anywhere. So it's almost like they don't even know what happened when they were making that album. Like, even though I'm pretty sure they recorded or wrote a lot of the album in the same studio for this latest album. Like, that haunted house or whatever.
Did they go back to it?
Yeah, they went back to it.
No way. Oh my God.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But I don't think they know how to. I don't know. It's just it's just some things like that. Like, and maybe I should put the question forward. Like, is there anything like what to the people in this room is just beyond comprehension to the point where you're just gobsmacked and you just haven't like you can do nothing but just sit back and wonder and just be like, well, okay. I just have to accept that it is what it is. I may never understand it. Yeah. But it just is what it is. Like what things, like, are there any things in the world that give either of you to similar feelings?
Maybe the sun. I don't know. Sun's pretty wild.
The sun?
Like, the sun.
Yeah.
The sun, yeah.
Like, you look at it and we understand a lot about it, but like in terms of scale, I don't think most people really appreciate. It's massive.
Yeah.
We're pretty big, but we're not that big. Yeah. Like, I don't know. I don't know. The scale of size of everything is just something that I think about sometimes.
An atom.
Yeah. I'm like
a particle.
Yeah, some guy named Adam. He's so small.
You see a guy named Adam,
and then he looks at the sun, and you're like, man, the difference. Like, but then I think about the difference between Adam and myself. I'm quite tall.
Yes,
and there's no like to the sun, exactly the same thing. We're nothing.
Yeah.
Are you saying we're nothing?
Yeah, but I understand that, so maybe this is the wrong answer.
I think you understand that.
Do you feel the nothingness or do you feel the everythingness? Because like are you the main character right now, or are you the speck of dust in the universe?
I'm the speck of dust. Every time I'll pick the speck of dust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a good. That's just disregarding Chili Peppers for a second.
Yeah.
This is a genuinely
bringing
good
us back to unrelated.
yeah, back to this goddamn sun. But I feel like there are mainly two types of people. People who do think that this is their story, and this is I am number one, I am the main character in my story type of thing.
Yeah.
And then other people who are like, well, no, that's not how you see it.
But like,
life.
if you're not the main character in
Yeah.
that story,
Yeah.
then whose story is it? It's not anyone's story. So you get to choose if it's your story.
And you could go between the two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could spend some time as the main character.
Yeah.
And sometimes as the secondary character.
Honestly, it's probably healthier.
Yeah.
I think so. I think
Yeah.
taking a step back and be like, yeah, this isn't about me.
Yeah.
And this isn't my moment.
Yeah.
This is someone else's.
Yeah.
This is someone else's thing.
Yeah.
I think that's very healthy to have.
Yeah.
And I think that's where sort of like people who are like self-indulgent with themselves, or like full of themselves basically, is because they consistently think that, oh, it's just me.
Yeah.
My time.
Yeah.
I'm talking right now.
Yeah.
Everyone's listening. My story type of mentality.
Yeah.
And I feel like that can get very toxic very quickly. Yeah, I feel like that's very interesting that some people can sort of like, if they're the sun, they're the sun in their story, and everything else, all these other planets are just their friends. But they're the sun. They're the thing that gets everything going, keeps everything alive.
Man.
To go back to that.
Yep.
That
Good
album.
idea. Yeah.
It's almost like what they're doing when they're making their music, in my mind, is like they're reaching down into their subconscious and just trying to bring out things, they're just searching inwards and trying to see what comes out, whatever spills out, they're just going to excavate it and bring it out into the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I feel like we all have so much inside us to explore and bring out into the world, and I just think that's amazing, whether or not people choose to do that. I feel like everyone has that within them, which is cool. It's not just like Flea can do that or whatever. Like everyone can do that. Everyone has this whole universe inside them that they can dig down into and express, but they just may not feel like they're qualified to do that, or that they are good enough to do that. But that's just a societal thing. That's not.
Do you feel like
it really is?
That's where music comes from? Like that's just what it is? It's a byproduct of exploring that stuff internally, or
100%. I feel like that's why I feel like everyone can do music. And that's why it makes me so sad when I talk to people and they'll be like, oh yeah, I like music. I'm like, oh, do you make any music? And they'll be like, oh, no, I can't make music, but like sometimes I'll play around on a keyboard or something. You know what I mean? As if it's this thing like you either make music or you don't make music. And if you're not like good enough at music, then you can't do music. Because I always just think back to like, imagine we were like before technology, before keyboards, before anything. And like the only people is like the 15 other people in your tribe or something. Music is just this. It's literally just. I hope this isn't insensitive. I mean this in the most like profound way possible, because I feel like back then, without all of those societal distractions, music was just something that everyone shared. Like there was no concept of, oh no, this person's doing the good music, this person's the successful one, this person's making the most money. Money didn't exist. All these things didn't exist. It was just this shared consciousness through music that everyone could connect to. And I feel like somewhere along the line, we've lost that to the point where some people feel like, oh yeah, I can do music. And most people feel like, oh no, music's not for me. Like when you hit a deep drum and it hits you in your gut, that makes you feel something. That's music, like somewhere along the line, it's become this thing of like, you either do it or you don't do it. And if you don't do it well enough, then you're not part of the music club. And for my whole life, maybe not my whole life, but yeah, I'd say my whole life, it's just been a battle of trying to feel like I can be part of the club and then trying to bring that onto other people, because daily I'm battling with myself to feel like I can be in the music club or whatever club it is. It doesn't even have to be music. It could be, I don't know, whatever I'm trying to do, the software engineering club, the science club, just trying to convince myself that no, I can be part of this. It's not like I don't belong to this thing. And just trying to, I just wish other people would feel that way as well, because it just limits what we let ourselves do.
Yeah, I feel like it's a lot of mentality, and it's a lot of like, if you believe you can do it, then you can sort of do it. It sounds generic, but when you look at like, you know, people who have been brought up in like a musical household, or like their parents have been in the music industry, for the most part, they can play an instrument and they can sing, or they can do something because they've either been taught at a young age, but mentally they're like, no, I can do this. Yeah. And like, you'll even look at Flea. Flea, before he joined the Chili Peppers, like he didn't know bass, and then like Hillel sat him down, taught him bass, and 2 weeks later he was on stage. Yeah. Like 2 weeks of playing bass and you're on stage and not giving a goddamn shit, and you're fucking gunning it. Yeah. And everyone loved it. No one, no one would have like given a shit.
And even if they didn't, he didn't care. He didn't let that stop him, you know? Like, whereas I feel like so many people would just, they wouldn't even make that decision, me included, you know?
Yeah, go up on stage.
Just do that, you know?
2 weeks after learning an instrument, going up on stage. It doesn't matter how big or small the stage is.
It's still a stage.
Yeah. And then going up and just being free, like that mentality is so healthy, and there'll be so many more, like so much amazing music out there if more people, including ourselves, would think like that, you know? Yeah. And that's what's good about music now, is that, you know, these old bedroom musicians and stuff like that, anyone can make a song, and there's so many people out there who that mentality is slowly but surely starting to change, where it's like, no, I can do this, I can go and sort of make music and type of thing. Like, you know, I could go and make a podcast, and I can go and do YouTube videos, and I can do shit like this because I believe I can, you know? And that's the only thing that was stopping me all these years ago, was just like, oh, no, I'm not a personality. I can't talk on a podcast and no one's going to listen to it and stuff like that. When it just, as soon as I started thinking like, no, I want to do it. I'm going to just, I think it's to be interesting, and I would really enjoy it. And then now, you know, like the first episode just came out a couple of days ago, and it's been an amazing feeling, like to have that out there, to be able to go on Spotify and see an artwork that I did, or like, and it's just amazing. And the podcast, and like, it's like the podcast, and like listen to the work that I've worked on in my own room for months, to have it out there. And you can probably tell, like with your song out, like your puzzle song out, like, you know, having this work that you just, like, no one else told you can and can't do it, but you just decided, okay, no, I'm going to go and do this thing, and now it's out in the world. And I think that is a really amazing feeling. And I think the ceiling for that has gotten so much lower that anyone, I'm not anybody, but I can go and do a podcast. I can go do whatever the fuck I want. I can go make an album tomorrow if I wanted to. Quality or not, I can go and do that. And I think that mentality is like, is more consistent than it used to be, because of the availability of it. Like, I've done all of this for free, basically. Yeah. The ceiling is so low that really anyone can do it. Yeah. So more people are doing it. Yeah. You know? Yeah.
How did you get to that point of being like, nah, I'm just going to do it. I just want to do it.
It was a lot of the years of, I started doing YouTube when I was younger, and I regretted stopping it because I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. And I regretted not doing it throughout my late teens and into my early 20s. Because I'm 24 now. And yeah, it was just a couple years, like especially leading up to it. Like, I was in a relationship, and like the relationship was great, but it was just, I wanted to, you know, I felt like during that, I'm like, shit, I really want to start like doing this YouTube thing. I want to create somehow. But then there was always something. There was like, it was a very like, you know, there was just life stuff going on. I was either working or there was something else going on where I didn't have any sort of time. I felt like I could have made more time, but I chose not to. That was completely on me. Yeah. But then, as soon as, you know, everything sort of stopped there, and I had all this free time, and I was like, no, I want to do this. I sort of just thought to myself, I sort of just sat down, and this is the first time in a long time, even prior to that relationship, where it was just me and my thoughts. You know, I had no distractions for a little bit. Yeah. And I really had to think about it. It sucked at first. The first like months of just having no distraction and nothing else there, it was terrible. It sucked. But then it came to the point where it's like, no, I got to start enjoying what I do. I got to start, I can't let just work be my whole life. You know what I mean? Yeah. I can't just let all these like goals, because the social norms want us to get there. You know what I mean? Sort of control the way I choose. It still does, of course. Like, of course, I still want to save a lot of money and, buy a house and do all this stuff and all these normal things. But making time to do what I feel like what I'm passionate about has been very rewarding. It's been stressful. Like even today, this morning was so stressful because I'm like, what if I come in here? What if something goes wrong? What if I say something stupid? What if I don't make any sense? Yeah. But as soon as I came in and we started talking, all that I've been enjoying the last like 2 hours so much, and it's been amazing. And then like, I don't know, I enjoy life a little bit more now that I'm sort of just putting myself a bit more first, I guess I could say. And the first time in ever almost.
Yeah.
You know, and it wasn't just because of any one person or anything. It was just more me sitting down, especially in isolation, and having time to think about what I want to do in life. And it was like, I don't want to work 9 to 5 every day and then only live for the weekends for the rest of my life.
It's time to be the sun.
It's time to be the sun, baby. Let's go.
Yeah.
Like I want to enjoy what I do. And of course, I'm not going to quit my job right now to continue on this podcast and then mess myself up financially. But, you know, having this here and having this creative outlet has been mentally really good. It's been mentally like, amazing.
That's so good.
But how about for you? Have you been sort of, we got 10 minutes left. Whoopsies. That's all right. We'll wrap it up soon, but it's all right. Yeah. So how was that for you?
I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting. It's like there's definitely the story of how I got here, but then there's the story of like you saying right. That's all good. Just the story of the right here and now. Like talking about coming here today. Like I mean I was nervous as well from a perspective of like like it's a podcast. Like what is a podcast? You know, like what like people listen to.
Sorry, I'm just dying here. Please continue. Yeah,
like people listen to a podcast for entertainment, and like I'm not feeling like I'm not an entertaining person. Blah this that and the other. But then once we got here, it was fine. Just talking about it and everything. Like it was just been good. But then I think the thing that I've kind of been it's interesting bring up the whole kind of sun point, right? Because I think the struggle that I've been on right now, and I think the struggle with my solo project, a big reason why I haven't been putting things out, even though it's been sitting there for so long, is because doing a solo project, it puts me in that place of everything revolves around me, which isn't even inherently unhealthy. But there were a lot of times growing up where I feel like I lived a lot of my life where everything was just revolving around me. And then I reached a certain age where I had a realization of those things, and I kind of went like completely the opposite. Like I did everything out of my way to not do that. Like I did everything I could to be there for everyone else, and like everything, and just try to absolve myself of any like ego or pride or anything like that as much as I possibly could, and not make things about me. And I mean, that's what the music that I do majority of the time is. It's like I'm working with someone else. I'm helping them achieve their vision. So then it doesn't make me feel like I'm a selfish person, because I feel like I'm helping them achieve what they want to achieve. But then when it comes to making my own things, I just get the thought of like, oh, I'm just taking up too much space right now. I'm just talking too much right now. And even on this podcast, it's hard. Obviously it's such a like all-encompassing dynamic. Like when we took the bathroom break and I took my headphones off, I was like, whoa, like we really went deep into this. I don't know what it is about this. There's something about it, but it's sort of a dynamic where it's not the same as just a conversation, because even though it is a conversation, there's this dynamic of the host and the guest. Mm-hmm. So then I'm feeling like, okay, I'm the guest. So then I'm kind of operating slightly differently to if I was just having a conversation, but then it just leads me to just get in my head about it, you know, like, am I being too self-absorbed? Am I making things all about myself? You know, that whole kind of mental rabbit hole. So I think that's kind of been the biggest thing that I've kind of been negotiating with recently with letting myself do things, is just how to balance just making space for myself and not feeling like I'm a terrible person for doing it. It's interesting. I don't have the answers, but yeah, that's where I'm at.
I think as soon as you get out of your own way, at least personally, when I get out of my own way, I'm a lot happier for it. If I have time to sit and think about things, or I let that side of me, like that sort of introverted side, come out, for the most part, I feel like I would be more happier if I was like not in my own way most of the time. Like I feel like I'm my own my biggest detriment.
I feel the exact same.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm my worst enemy.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
Know, like no one else wants anything bad for me.
No, of course.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Except Bailey. Yeah, except Bailey.
Why do we sabotage ourselves so much? Why are we our worst enemy? It's
exactly.
Weird, you know?
Yeah.
No one else is up to the challenge.
Why are we so good at it as well?
Yeah.
Like, what's our problem with ourselves?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah.
I'm genuinely curious. I don't know, and maybe it's different for everyone. But yeah, I relate to that feeling of just being we're the thing that stands in our way. I want to be more like Flea.
I want to be
just get on stage after 2 weeks of doing something and be like, I don't care what people think. I just want to play bass. I'm just going to do that, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why, I'm going to do a show in August, which is the first time I'm ever doing like a solo show.
Oh my God.
Which is exciting, but it's terrifying as
Yeah.
well. And it brings up all these feelings of like, everything I was talking about. But I just want to be more like Flea when it comes to that and just try to embody that as best I can.
That's amazing. In August, that's not far from now. Well, I'll be there. Bailey, you going to be there?
Yeah, probably.
Eddie, we'll both be there.
I'm the band manager.
You're the
So for anyone listening to the podcast, if they want to come, because this, I mean, only if this has come out before or after, I'm not sure, but
probably after.
On the 25th of August, if you saw the show, I hope you enjoyed it. if it hasn't happened yet, feel free to come. But you'll know how that went before I do right now. So.
Well, we should wrap it up because we're running out of time. But please, promote anything you like or your
Gentle Ghosts. You can find me on Instagram, Gentle Ghosts Music, I believe, and Spotify, Gentle Ghosts. By the time you hear this, there probably will be more than one song out in the world.
Mm-hmm. But that one song's amazing. Puzzled. The official theme song of Jams. Thank you very much.
I appreciate it.
But no, I appreciate you coming out and doing this. And this is the first day we've actually met each other. So I know that would have been like
it was like a friendship date.
It was like a
blind date. You know?
Exactly.
It's like I'm committed to going to watch like the Red Hot Chili Peppers with this man that
I know. We bought tickets to go.
But a friend of Bailey's is a friend of mine, so I felt confident doing that.
Thank you so much. No, I appreciate
and I'm really glad I did.
Me too. I'm really happy how everything turned out. And thank you so much for coming out and
thank
doing
you for
this.
having me on.
And thank you to my lovely co-host, Paul.
I'm here.
It's
been good.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I've enjoyed it.
How does it feel?
Podcast firsthand.
Yeah.
It's going to be good.
Instead of just listening to episode 1 on Spotify.
Yeah, which was really good too.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, how do you rate your album choice?
Oh yeah, you got to rate your own album choice.
As like a
1 to 10.
1 to 10 Jman points.
Like on a my scale or whatever scale I want.
Was it Insane Clown Posse was 1?
Insane Clown Posse was a 1. And what was...
You're allowed to choose your own scale.
Yeah, you can do whatever scale you want. It's fine.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Perfect. Would you say genuinely a perfect album?
Everyone listen to this, yes. 10 out of 10.
There we are.
Yeah.
Perfect album.
No questions.
Okay, well, yeah, sweet. Okay, well, we'll leave it there. Oh yes! Oh my God!
Oh, we gotta eat
this
chili.
Is bad time.
Bailey just looked at me with a chili in his hand. And how could I have
Where's
forgotten?
my chili?
Where'd you put your...
Where's your chili? Were you playing with it?
Oh, it's on the floor. I'm eating a floor chili.
Oh God!
Let's do
Okay, give me 1 second. 1 second.
All right, and we got to be really quick.
I know we got to be really quick.
2-minute chili.
Man, we're gonna go out. We're gonna be crying.
That's the way to go out.
Yeah.
Chili cam. Who's gonna eat first? Or are we gonna eat
All
at the
at
same
once.
time?
Are we gonna eat it at the same? Hold on a second. I'm just gonna put my cans back.
All into the mics.
Oh, we're going. Here's ball. Head ball. Brandon. Okay, here we go. Chili it. I'll do vegan. Delicious.
Yum 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 yum
Yum yum yum yum yum. Chili time. Are you a whole thing? Oh God. Oh God.
Ooh.
Jesus.
Whoa.
Hello.
Did you get spicy ones?
Ooh.
Really? Jesus Christ.
Ooh. Ooh.
Oh, that is rough. I'm not good at this.
Whoa.
You didn't even finish yours. You spilt seeds.
Whoa. Whoa. Woo!
All right. Red Hot Chili Peppers! California, baby! We didn't bring up California once. Oh, God.
California thoughts. Rate it 1 to 10.
It looks nice. Ball, water me. Be a good co-host.
Bailey. California.
California, go.
10.
Go. Out of 10.
Break California.
Please right now.
They're good.
Good?
Have you been?
Spicy. Yeah.
You
Have
like
you been
it?
to California?
No.
How many syllables does it have?
Right now.
California. That's 4.
Good job, Ball.
What if it was 5 near?
What about California? California. That's 3. California.
Oh, man. Regret.
That was a terrible
I think we
idea.
gotta pack up.
Regret.
Right, we gotta leave it there. Thank you so much for listening to episode 6 of Jabs. Oh my God.
Chili's every episode.
Whoa.
Oh, I am not good
Thank
with
you.
hot food. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you so much for coming out. Thank you, Ball.
Thanks, J-Man.
All right. How are you so okay?
It's just chili.
It's just chilly. Oh my god, this guy. All right, we gotta pack up. We gotta go.
Bye, guys.
Bye bye.
Now here is a new game.
Okay.
Basketball, but all the balls are cubes, and you actually just build things out of them.
How do you win? I mean, fair enough.
All right, do you want to start your podcast?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Is this not the podcast?
Is this not-
Is this not the,
okay, this
No,
is
I think
the
we
basket-
started. I think.
Wait, what?
Am I in the wrong? Am I in the wrong studio? Like,
Yeah, you just stumbled into a microphone.
Yeah. Started
What's going on? Like,
about square
I
balls.
came prepared. Like, I bought like 14 basketballs in the last week, and I've just been feeling them.
It's just.
Just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I did ask you to do that.
Wait,
Just-
is he
just-
hijacking my podcast?
This is my podcast.
wait, who are you?
Yeah.
Oh.
Wait, what are you doing here?
Who
this,
am
is,
I?
this is my co-host.
Wait, no. Hold on a second. Hold on a hot
Now, he's,
dang minute.
he's a basketball novice.
I'm a
He's
basketball-
heard of the sport,
I've heard of the sport.
but he doesn't know. You know, he was talking about rolling. That's not part of basketball. That's never been part of basketball.
Yeah, never.
He's thinking of bowling.
I'm thinking of bowling.
Now, bowling is a sport I think we could use a cube ball for.
Okay, I don't mean to cut you off, but we have about an hour and a half in this room.
You don't mean to cut me off.
I don't mean to, but I will.
Exactly.
you off.
That's exactly what you did. So you didn't mean to.
No.
But then you continue to do exactly what you said.
Yeah, I was
you
just
didn't
being
wanna
polite.
do.
I did mean to. I just thought I'd be a
It wasn't
polite
that
thing
polite.
to say. Well, it would be nicer than just cutting you off, I would think.